I think it's funny how people complain about how expensive Jeju is all the time. Have you noticed?
All the time. All the time.
All the time. But I'm talking about in particular people who are coming to the island, not us on the island. I feel like we have the ability, the right almost, to complain about how expensive it is. But I see people online complaining about it all the time. Have you? Do you watch the Twitter fears and for these sort of conversations?
Not always, but I have a lot of friends that are bar owners and restaurant owners, and I was just hanging out with two of my besties. They're sisters, and they own a cafe/wine shop, and literally just telling me about how customers have been talking about the price of their products. But not only that is I went on Google and tried to make a give support, make a Google recommendation, and the top one was talking about how expensive their cafe was. And so I immediately was like, this is absolutely norm, if not cheaper than other cafes. So constantly complaining.
So the other day, this was about a week or so ago, back when I still had my blue check mark on Insta and Twitter. I think it was the last day. So there was this editor with AP. He was commenting on this other thread that somebody was writing about how expensive and how disappointed they were with Jeju.
Oh,
right? They're like, we're not going to Jeju ever again.
In Korean or English?
Korean.
Korean, okay.
And the guy was talking about the person. I'm not sure. It was an account.
Right.
Yeah, talking about how they came here and they had this meal, this halabang, blah blah blah, and how expensive it was and how disappointed. And they're like, it'd be better if we just went to Japan. And the editor, one of the editors from AP, said, yeah, the same thing. Yeah, Jeju's way too expensive.
Okay.
I of course had to chime in and be like, well, imagine how we feel on the island. And, you know, like I have to stand up for Jeju because I feel a little bit like insulted about that because why is Jeju so expensive? And we had
it's not business owners' fault. Yeah, they're not doing it all. They're not doing it on purpose.
Yeah, and it made me think of like the other episode that we did with Tommy, before our hiatus, about the issue that Jeju has about being so expensive and having to deal with the issue of what to do with the tourism, low quality tourism, or do the that has right. You know, and I did some research to see how expensive Jeju has gone. Right?
Oh, did you? Of course you did.
Yeah, tourism for tourists, Jeju expenses have risen 30% in the last 3 years.
Holy moly.
30%. Right? So it is quite a bit. I have a hard time.
Considerable.
Yeah. I have a hard time. I want to protect my Jeju homies, my Jeju people, right? Like, of course it's expensive. It should be expensive because it's worth it. But that's a lot, right?
But 30% is an incredible amount. And in my head, I'm just thinking over the past 3 years, there was COVID, there was this, and so I'm trying to think of all the things that have happened to attribute that. But I don't know. Yeah, war. Yeah. The cost, the price of produce. But still, 30% is no drop in the bucket. You know, that's
right. Yeah,
that's
So the complaints are sort of legitimate, but then just as this was happening, the Jeju governor was talking about putting a tourism tax. I'm not sure if you saw this.
I did see that. That's caused a lot of. Because let's explain to our listeners because a lot of people aren't going to know what that is. But basically, it was I would consider it more of a trash tax, is what I would say it is. So, what were they saying? They were saying for one person it would be $1, but groups of more. Do you have the numbers? What they were saying? Do you remember?
Yes, I have the numbers.
Of course you do. Why am I even saying?
It's a weird breakdown, right? But
it is
overall,
a weird breakdown.
It's going to be about 8,000 won per person. Right?
Okay.
Because it's like 1,500, which is not like it's like a buck and a half, I guess you could think about it, per night for a person. Yeah. And if you rent a car, it's 5,000 won per day for a car, 10,000 won if it's a van. So there's all these little stipulations like that will change it. And it's going to be roughly about 8,000 won per day per person extra to come here. And we
Which
have
is a
13. Lot. Yeah. Is it? Do you think it's
I do. I think that's you're kind of pushing it because Well, do you want to finish your thought?
I was just gonna say there's 13.5 million tourists that come to Jeju every year.
Right.
And that's it's going to be equal about 105 million extra dollars for Jeju's coffers a year. 105 million a year. But what do you think? Like, do you think this is a good idea?
So, but I have a lot of different thoughts about that as well, because it's not as if Jeju's necessarily hurting for money. In general, Jeju happens to be there's plenty of money going around. I'll just say that. However, I do think that's a lot of money when you're tacking that on to per day, because when you think about it, people are coming down here and they're spending their money in this economy, right? In spending it on hotels, spending it on Jeju hotels, hopefully, there's a lot of corporations, but they're already dropping money, and then to go ahead and drop more money, it's a lot, and it adds up to a lot. It's not I don't know. I think it's a lot.
There's a problem, right? Like, Jeju has a problem. Yeah. This money is so Jeju people for a while now have been complaining about the stress on the sewer system.
Right.
This is not fun stuff, right? This is very and
it's caused huge issues, on the coast with the sewage and stuff like that. So it's not, there's reason to complain. There's reason to be worried about Jeju in general. Yeah.
Local people are saying the stresses on water, sewage, landfills, all that stuff are being exacerbated because of tourism. Right. And we are paying for that. Like, it comes from our housing taxes and these things.
Right.
And so should, the local farmers have to pay for that, or should it's this weird philosophical problem that's going on, right?
It is, because not only that, but we got the government pushing to be a global island. I mean, for how many years now has the government, has the agency been pushing to make it an international island? So it's not as if Jeju itself isn't encouraging and wanting to encourage tourists. Yeah. A lot of my soul friends, though, just on a side note, a lot of my soul friends joke and be like, well, if we had to pay to come to Jeju, you had to pay to come to Seoul. And then it does become like, you're like, well, who can have the money, tourist money, and who doesn't have it? But Jeju is not the only one to be considering this. Hawaii also, islands are, in my opinion, a little bit different than countries.
Right.
Mainlands. Sorry, I could have said that better. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, you do make a good point with Hawaii. Hawaii's trying to do a bunch of stuff. The Maldives
are also,
considering, and the islands are also the hardest hit by climate change.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. So it's going to be, Jeju tried this before. This is not the first time they tried to come up with this tax. They tried it in 2012. And it was rejected. Okay. It was rejected because they were worried about the impact it would have on tourism.
On tourism, yeah. Well, I think it's an interesting time to be talking about it now, when we are going to see a decline in tourism just because of all the countries have opened. So the local tourism that we've been able to get through COVID with is going to all but disappear, in my opinion. And I think you already see it disappearing. And I don't think international travel is quite up to where it was pre-COVID. I don't think international travel is necessarily quite yet going to be bringing it back to Jeju like it used to.
Yeah, I'm a hack and a fraud, so I didn't get those numbers to see the pre-COVID numbers. But in the first quarter of this year, the international tourism has increased by a huge percentage compared to last year. There's 88,000, nearly 89,000 tourists came to Jeju in between January and April 23rd.
We're talking Chinese and Japanese?
Chinese and Japanese are the main ones. Yeah. But compared to the last year, it was only 13,000 in the same period. But that's still COVID.
This is like apples and oranges. Like, it wouldn't be,
It doesn't make sense.
It's all going to be played out in the next few years about what's going to really happen to Jeju, and if they're going to be able to maintain local tourism, and if they're going to be able to maintain international tourism. So to be determined, I think.
So before we get to our next Jeju Dialect Corner, I want to, how does my voice sound? How does my voice?
Are you trying to get a compliment on your raspy sexiness? Oh, see, you were trying to get a cut. No, it sounds
No,
fine.
but it's raspy, right? So I wanted to bring this up because
like,
it's not naturally raspy.
You've been
I don't
sneaking cigarettes in the back.
I don't get homesick very often. But I did today. Do you get homesick? Do you miss home?
Same as you, certain things trigger it, certain times of the year and certain things, but not particularly, no.
I miss my my parents and stuff, but my hometown, it doesn't really bring up soft spots. But today I was going to a wedding, as you can tell by my attire. I was in the car.
Uh-huh.
And my Toronto Maple Leafs won, and they made it.
It's like, where are we going with this? Oh my God. So you were screaming your head off in the car?
In the middle of traffic.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And I wasn't driving. I was watching on the thing. And thank God we're at a red light.
Yeah.
So if anybody in town heard screaming, that was literally me. I was like, I even told myself in the car, if something happens, do not
just don't make a big
relax.
Deal. Yeah.
And I couldn't contain it. And I literally, it was red light. I opened the car door because I wanted to jump out into the street. But I'm like, what
Your wife was probably like, what are you doing?
But
but you feel good about that, huh? I have a story about that too. In my those things triggered. Hey.
If I was at a wedding and there was a hockey game on, we would all be glued to the hockey game. And I miss. It was like I was an island of one, and I never really get homesick. What about you?
Yeah, well, I have the same story about hockey. As I was going, I have worked with Jeju Fury, which is a 100% for non-profitable charity, but at certain times of the year, we go deliver money to certain people that we support. And one of those times I was going to Hamdok to deliver some money, and the Washington Capitals were, doing it, and it was the Stanley Cup, and this was the end game if they won. And I was like, okay. And I'm like slowly in my car, and everybody's waiting for me. I'm slowly in my car. And then I'm trying to get my phone as I'm walking. And I had the same moment where I just stood on the sidewalk. I'm like, in the middle of Hamdok. And that was, so we're both there.
Yeah. So I just wanted to
sports.
I don't. Some people have said they want us to talk about homesickness and how to deal with it. And stuff.
Really?
And
we can talk about that sometime. Yeah.
And I never
But we're kind of different. We've lived here so long. This is our home. So.
But I just wanted to share that. But let's go to
future episode.
Ju Young.
Jeju.
Jeju Dialect Corner. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another fantastic segment of our Jeju Dialect Corner with our Sansing Nim Ju Young Han. Hey, Ju Young, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. And Alexis, how are you?
Very good. Glad to be back. I'm sorry I missed the last episode. That was a good one. I really liked that word, and I'm bummed I missed.
We missed you.
I know. Well, I miss learning about like the pregnant, the giving birth underwater. I mean, that was great. I was like, okay, wow. I missed all sorts of good information.
Yeah. So, anything new? How's life in the world of Ju Young?
Oh, I don't know. Sadly or gladly, nothing new.
Still cleaning beaches.
Still cleaning beaches. They're still dirty, huh? Okay, so what are you going to teach us today? We're all really excited to get this new word.
I thought maybe I should teach you guys a word that is used by young or old, young and people all together. Well-known Jeju Saturday dialect. It's
popular, common.
Yes, and it's 제라지다.
So, jea-la-gi-da, jea-la-gi-da.
Yeah, that's the basic form.
Jea-la-gi-da.
But like for example, let's get into the adverb first.
Right. What does it mean first? Before we get into the grammar, what does the word mean?
Oh, I didn't explain.
And let's rewind.
That's why they pay me the big bucks. That's why I'm here.
So it means really good, like the best, amazing, fantastic, things like that.
Mm. What is the Korean version of that then? How would you say it in straight Korean?
And I think the slang word
Mhm.
now,
Sure.
but I don't want to say it.
Okay. So this is sort of like an equivalent to like a slang terminology then.
Yeah,
But
I think so. I think so.
uh-huh. Uh-huh. So how would you use it in a sentence?
So, like for example, like let's use describe a noun,
Yeah.
whether it's a person or like a thing.
Mhm.
You could say 제라
Let's say we're at a restaurant. What about like we're at a restaurant and we can say,
yeah, 제라 delicious.
"Oh, hey."
제라
Jera mashisayo?
yeah. 제라
Jera
spicy.
mashisayo. Jera mewayo.
제라 spicy. Yeah.
Yeah.
제라 cold.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
제라 hot.
Uh-huh.
Oh, now I'm getting
Oh.
it. Now I'm getting it.
Jera.
It's like
And
very.
yeah. So it's equivalent to like mani or something like that?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Okay, so Jada chuayo. Jada. Oh, that's perfect. That's really
That's
useful.
really helpful. That's now I'm put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, "Oh, right. Okay."
And this is gonna be a callback to our episode with Jada Pisai. Oh, very expensive.
Yes. 제라
Uh,
비싸요. 제라
uh-huh.
제라 cheap.
Uh-huh.
Something or 제라 boring.
Right.
Oh, this
Oh,
is
I
really
like this.
useful.
This is really useful. Okay.
Also, it can be used as adjective,
Uh-huh.
attributive adjective. 제라진.
Jada Jin?
진.
Jin.
제라진 kid. 제라진 woman.
Uh-huh.
제라진 movie. 제라진 food. 제라진
So
Oh.
what would that mean? Like if I said Jada Jin Younghua, very movie?
really good movie.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the adjective.
Yes.
Oh.
When
Okay.
predicate changes, predicate is the basic word. So the food is 제라지다.
제라지다.
Yeah, the
That's going to
movie
be helpful.
제라지다. Yeah.
Alexis, I haven't heard you give it a shot yet.
I was just about to ask Juju if she thought you were her favorite student because you always you totally just showed off by like, and that's a throwback to the last 5 episodes ago.
My
So
nose is a little brown, huh?
Yeah, Browna, you're showing off right now. So let's do the food one because I think that's the most useful. jea-la-gi-da.
제라지다.
jea-la-gi-da. That's one that I think most people will find useful.
So would it be jea-la-gi-mashisayo?
No. 제라 맛있어요.
Jeda mashisayo.
Yeah. So adverb is 제라, only 제라.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And when you use it as an adjective, jeda ji, and then you put the pachim nin to make it connected to the noun.
Yeah.
Jeda jin.
Yeah.
Whatever. Younghwa, check, blah blah blah. I have like 6 nouns that I can use. That's about it, unfortunately.
When we put it up, we'll put the 2. When we put it up on our social media, we'll put the 2 different ones, and we can spell it out so people can really see what we're saying.
When was the last time you've used this?
Me?
Yeah, you.
All the time, actually. But
Oh yeah.
Come to think about it, it can mean the bad thing as well. Like for example, that girl's personality is 제라지다.
Mm.
It can be either, either good, really good, or really bad.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just
Yeah,
like the extreme.
yeah, yes.
Oh,
I think
perfect.
very. I think very is what we need to in English. What we would be thinking about.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
and
a
then
great
pairing
word.
it. Yeah, that's probably one of the more useful things I think we've reviewed. Actually.
Uh-huh. I'm gonna
Yeah.
use this one a lot. I love these lessons. I do. No, I mean I like to incorporate them.
Yeah,
I mean, we've talked about it before, but we haven't actually talked about it recently. Is that like using these words in the out in the wild?
it's
It's
very impressive.
you got ajuma props all the time. You turn heads.
True story. True story.
Yeah.
Well, that was really useful. I'm actually because I'm a more of a visual learner, so when we do these lessons, I get a little bit nervous. But I
Mhm.
really like Daryl after you turn it into the thing, and then I look at it, and then I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, that's what we were saying. So I always appreciate the after lesson
Yeah.
lesson.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
for those who want to like have another lesson on it, come to our Instagram page, me, you, and Jeju, to see uh Ju Young's beautiful and wonderful face again, and to learn more about
phonetically spelled out.
One more time.
제라지,
My mouth. I'll let you do it.
제라지다.
Perfect.
Jea-la-gi-da.
And that has been another segment of Jeju Dialect Corner with our wonderful teacher, Ju Young Han. Thank you so much. Can't wait till next time.
Always wonderful. Thank you.
And that was another stellar segment with Ju
Teacher's
Young
pet.
Han.
Teacher's pet.
I got a big nose for a reason.
People can't see what you're doing, but he's rubbing the. That's probably
Make
not
sure
polite
it's
to
all
say, but he
nice and
is so
really
ridiculous.
shiny.
So ridiculous. You're such a teacher's pet. But that word, that's an interesting. Like I said when we were in the interview, that's going to be interesting to see it laid out. Which I just find that so helpful. Everyone check out our Instagram for you visual learners. It's so helpful to see that spelled out phonetically. So yeah, another good episode from teacher.
And so last episode we were speaking about Sasam with Jungmin Kim of lead correspondent with North NK News and editorial director of South Korea Pro, and we were talking about the banners that were erected ahead of Sasam, the 75th memorial celebration. And to recap, those banners were saying that the uprising on April 3rd was done at the order of Kim Il Sung and his North Korean party with the purpose of destabilizing the founding of the country.
The government, right?
So, and that was really controversial. Those banners went up, people slashed them, and then I got to cover for my newspaper the event, and this is the first event that they had, the memorial, 75th memorial at the Peace Park, first one they've had in 3 years because of COVID. This is also the first time that they've ever had a protest at the event.
I saw that drama, man. Some of the video you got was really interesting because the things got a little heated.
Yeah.
So to me, understandably. I mean, So
the protests that happened were members of the Northwest Youth League, or purporting to be, which is the people who did all the damage here. They're obviously not them because they're all deceased,
right.
But they may be related or family. Someone speculated that they may have been actually from former North Korean defectors, who came here to try to like protest that message that the uprising was caused by North Korea and Kim Il Sung and his Communist Party. And
it's also,
the reaction to it, people were really angry.
Well, I mean, you knew that was, of course they were angry. I mean, it took them how long to slash, 85 banners, 81 banners? It happened overnight. Those things were slashed to bits, you know? So, of course, and then to be, I think there was tension going into the memorial service, just having to see that, before you're going to pay respect. And then to physically, face-to-face, run into some of these protesters.
Yeah, it's wild. Well, they never got out of they were never allowed to get out of their van, right?
Right.
Because people were trying to literally throw themselves at the van or get inside
That
of it,
was
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and so it was quite like a shock, and then also it's really disappointing that it's the first one, like the first protest to have had at something like this, right?
Wait,
Like
well, clarify that
that
sounded a little bit. You're disappointed?
it's disappointing that there would be a
A
protest
protest.
at
Okay,
the
yeah,
event,
that sounded a little bit odd. Yeah,
right? Like
but
it because these people there's fewer and fewer survivors of it, and
I
they
know.
go there. That's the thing, right?
That's yep.
And I spoke to some reporters and stuff there, and they were just, of course, every time there's a conservative in the power in the Blue House, a conservative leader, there is pushback against the massacre.
Yeah.
And even there was recently another member of the PPP party, the People's Power Party, they came down to the island to apologize because they said that Sassam was like a minor holiday, a minor event compared to other, and it's just like it's not
Just
over.
stop.
This
Yeah,
is not done.
This, but you're Canadian, I'm American, so this is not like the freedom of speech is a tender thing. So to me, seeing this, it's not surprising, nor is it shocking to me to see the nerve of people and what they feel comfortable doing. I'll say that as nice as I can.
Right. Yeah.
The comfortableness that they feel is shocking to me. Like, how did we get so far wrapped? Wow, this is just a whole nother subject. But to me, it's just to get to the place where you feel comfortable enough to go do that in a place of mourning, in a place of remembrance. But you're comfortable enough to do that. So I don't know.
I'm gonna keep watching this and seeing like what other comments and how things develop. There's great pushback from the foundations and the Bereaved Family Foundation.
Of course.
So, but it's glad that we have those, because otherwise there wouldn't be any pushback and it'd just be accepted that like, oh, it's a minor event, minor holiday, right? So, but that's about all the time we really should have for us. We have a fantastic interview coming up.
Yeah, I'm excited about this.
Yeah, Mr. Kim Jiho of Motif. Let's go to that. On today's episode of Me, You, and Jeju, we have a very special guest. We have Kim Jiho, owner of Motif Jeju, which is a fantastic whiskey bar in the English town, the JGEC, Jeju Education Town. I can't remember what the initial stand for anymore.
So whatever.
Thank you for being with us today. How are you?
Good. How are you there? Just glad to be here with all the celebrities in this island.
Celebrity.
It's really nice because you and I talk a lot online, but we've actually we've never met in person, and I've never actually seen your face for real. So it's so nice to see you. Yeah.
Nice
So
to meet you.
I swear to you right now, I will be making it down for one of your parties. I promise you.
Thank you.
Promise you. Yeah.
I really appreciate it with your support.
Yeah. We're recording on a Sunday night now. Were you busy today at the cafe?
Yeah, it was a bit busy during the daytime because a lot of GC people have a little community event for their own.
Right.
We have like a GC language exchanges and then book clubs.
Yeah.
That is happening on Sunday evening. So I was making tons of coffee and just came back.
Okay, well, I'm glad you made time for us. Thank you so much.
Appreciate for your invitation.
And I mean, this is a very celebratory recording we have today because it is we just passed the first anniversary of your whiskey bar. Congratulations on that. That's quite an accomplishment.
Thank you. I mean, I never expected that the time flight this fast, but it's all from a lot of support from the GC people and you too as well.
So let's start with
go ahead.
How would you define Motif? What is it?
Yeah, because you keep saying whiskey bar, but it's also a cafe, right, Jiho?
Cafe, and it can be wine bar. Actually, all the neighbors, we always call every customer as a neighbors, and a whole neighborhood just cannot define our place. So I always tell them it's your living room, which is
that's perfect.
Yeah, we stand out as we always call ourselves living room. So that's why we have a longer extended operation hours and like speak the different languages and serve various type of drinks, not just coffee, alcoholic beverages and non-alcoholic, and even we understand about vegans. So we serve like oat milk, like almond milk, and just normal milk as well, and caffeine free, a lot of different type of it. So we are living room.
Everything. Gio, I remember commenting on this when you posted. One of the things that I like about your place the most and about your business is that once you got down to the GC and as you're figuring it out, you really, really have been super accommodating for the people. I mean, the fact that you extended the hours to have some cocktails. Then even in one of your posts, you were like, just come. If I need to give you a ride home, if you had too many whiskeys, I'll give you a ride home. Like,
that's true. Yeah.
do you remember that?
Yeah,
And I was like, wow,
do that.
this guy is really just really, really trying to make. I just like the dedication.
Right.
You're really trying to make something happen, and it's not easy. Has it been a struggle for you?
A lot of struggles, to be honest. But I always know that it takes time to persuade what we're doing, and I was just doing everything I can do to let our people know our we exist in this town.
Yes.
So one of the things, funny, before I get to my question, I did sort of associate, people of this podcast know I don't get out much, but I do kind of know of your podcast, podcast, your establishment as something of a community. Like I just joined a hockey team, the Jeju Eagles. And they have events at your place. And I see that there's like a community aspect to your establishment, which is great. But a question I've been dying to ask you, that since I knew you were coming on, is what are some of the difficulties that you've had in trying to build a restaurant, a cafe, a whiskey bar, a community on Jeju?
So, to be honest, GEC is very different with other Jeju area.
Really?
So everyone's like expat, everyone's like imported from somewhere. So it's hard to build a community in the Jeju. And also I was the same person like the others. So once I decide to open the place, I was thinking like maybe I because my personality is like very open and like welcoming everyone. I felt like I already knew that if I just like connect all the people that I meet and know the details and like share the information and build a small community, it will be like a thing in this town. So once someone asked me about like, for example, Jeju Eagles, like the bazaar for the raising some money for goalies. I was like, okay, why not? We can do. I don't. At the time, I just know that I don't have to earn money from that point. Then I can just earn after. So like, I just like hosted all the event. And
Get
that's why I
people
could build
in.
this
Get
community.
people in. Yeah, because like you mentioned before, I didn't even know, Darryl, that there was a hockey thing. But you mentioned, Jiho, right now you are regularly doing the book club. You're regularly hosting the language exchange. So now you're regularly hosting for the Eagles, or what other things are regular events so far?
For now, we actually host multiple events, but not just hosting by us. Hosting by other people. We just offer the place, but we don't charge it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Good.
what are some of the difficulties that you've had on establishing a restaurant on Jeju? What are the particular difficulties that Jeju has presented to you?
This one.
Yes. Yep. Especially in the GEC, right, Jiho?
Yeah, a lot of ingredients and stuffs are expensive than the mainland. It costs a lot. But once I establish it, the second problem is letting people know that we are here.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of different type of advertisement and reaching out, but I actually solved it quite easily. I just bring like tons of coffee and visit to the other restaurant and putting there. I bring the whole jug, like 2-liter jug, and put there, and I just say hi, and I just make them return that, visit our shop.
Yeah.
I was doing that for every single shop in the GC.
Like a
So
little
that's why people
welcoming thing.
recognize us.
Yeah. Good
Yes.
for you. That's a
Wait, so
lot of
you're
work. That's a
your
lot of
trick
work.
wait, so your trick that sounds like, you know, you go to like you have a date, you have a good time
Yeah.
with them, you accidentally like leave your scarf at their house, and you're
Yeah.
like, that was
I
your
was a big
go-to?
Cinderella.
Yeah,
I was a big
Cinderella with your shoe. Yeah.
Yeah, with a like coffee. I was doing that from the first page. So once I
Nice.
start this construction, not construction, like interior construction,
Right.
I
Uh-huh.
go to the like restaurant and say hi and just like
Mm.
explain about me and what I'm gonna do.
Yep.
And
Uh-huh.
you know, like I took like 5 weeks. So during the 5 weeks, I had tons of time to visit those places. So I
Uh-huh.
go to other cafe and say hi. I go to
Yep.
different restaurants, say hi, and I realized no one does this way. They just open and
Uh-huh.
start. They are waiting, but I found that I was just doing that way, and that's why I could get to know a lot of people
Oh,
Yes.
at the
interesting.
beginning.
That's
Uh,
something I really like about you is you're really because you know my role in J2. I
Hmm.
cannot stress more importantly how important I think a community is. And so
Hmm.
every event I try to do, every sort of event or hosting or something, the whole purpose is to have a community. And I
Hmm.
know because I've tried to get
Hmm.
GEC people out and about to have a community. And so I know props to you because it is so hard to get
Hmm.
people out of their cliques of their separate schools and
Hmm.
together to do something, you know? So good for you
Yeah.
for really making such an effort.
Yeah, I mean, I really felt happy and like so delightful on our event
Yes.
because during our 1 year anniversary event, we had about 70 people from
Yay.
GC and
Yay.
from the all, four different schools.
Right.
So that means they were here to celebrate together, and they made this event really really big and delightful. So I
Right.
really appreciate it for their
Yay.
support, and I feel like I'm in the part of the community a little bit now.
Yeah.
oh, nice.
Yeah. You feel part of it now. Gio, do you have a partner?
No, I don't
In
have.
the business too.
Oh,
Do
for
you
me,
do
for my
all of this
business.
for your business? Yeah. You do it all by yourself or?
For now, the money was me because actually, if I just like give you a little explain about myself, is I
Yes.
was a
Yes.
startup founder and CEO in Seoul. Oh,
Oh,
so I established it like when I was 23. Oh, hi,
sorry
Karen.
about that.
It's okay, no worries. And I was startup CEO, and the business was acquired when I was 25, which is like 2 years
Oh,
after.
Wow.
And
What
I
was
was
the
in the
startup?
company it was a tech company related to accommodation industry. So I developed the software for
hey,
accommodations,
good for
and that
you. Okay.
well, there's a long story behind, but yeah, I was a startup
You-
CEO, so
you-
I was good at hustling.
Okay.
And you know, and after the 6 years of the working in the company where my company was acquired, I needed to leave the company. So
Okay.
after I left the company. I was having a little gap year, and a few months after, I couldn't, like I couldn't just stay like doing something but nothing. So my friend suggested GC. There are no
Okay.
cafe on that lane, so
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
came down and found like, oh, maybe I can do. So I just started.
So
Wait, that was
someone just
it?
out of the blue, that's really someone just out of the blue was like, hey, did you ever hear about Jeju and
GC,
GC in the Jeju? And you're like,
yeah,
no, let me go look. That's how it
yeah.
happened?
Yeah,
Wow,
that's
dude. Okay.
actually what's happening.
That
Yeah,
was a
that's how it
Wow.
happened.
that sounds like it was risky. Like, were you
Risky?
worried?
No, the thing is, I didn't do any research about the town.
I'm dying laughing. You're like, look at all these foreigners, and then you're like, this will be great, and then like, oh,
Yeah, I mean, like, oh,
oh,
there are schools and there are no good cafe that people get along. So I was like, maybe I can do it. So I started a
oh,
cafe, and I found out I spent too much money for like opening. So I was like, oh, maybe I need to earn more. Then maybe I can drink alcohol. So I started serving alcohol.
hey,
Wait,
good for you. You gotta do what you gotta do.
it takes me like a year and a half to decide what pair of shoes I'm gonna buy for the season, and you just
Yeah,
came down here and you're like, you know what? Screw it.
I'll do
We're
it.
gonna put a
Yeah,
cafe right here, and it's gonna be.
yeah,
Wow, that's
and
very
so
impressive.
it took like 2 months to open.
Yeah.
From
Okay.
3 months from planning and
Okay.
designing and construction and open.
Yeah.
So it was like
Yeah.
3-month project, but yeah, did it.
So how long
That's pretty quick.
So 3 months, including like making the decision?
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm good
God.
at that.
Oh my God.
So,
So you were
yeah,
just like, ma'am, Jiho, remind me, because I don't remember. Was there a standing building, or you actually also constructed the building?
the building was there, but
The
it
building
was
was there.
empty
Okay.
for 1 year and 2 years, I think.
Right.
So because it
Right.
was too big, and you never been the Motif, but it's actually really high ceiling cafe,
Right.
which is like
Right.
about 4.5 meters. So no one really used it as itself, and it was just like
Okay.
some like real estate office there. So I just told him like move out, and I
I'll take
just
over.
did it. Yeah, I took the whole floor and
Yeah.
running it as a cafe and bar.
Yeah. Okay.
Any
Yeah,
surprises about running an
yeah.
establishment? Was there any surprises about running an establishment on Jeju?
Surprise. I surprised with the people's attitude coming to my shop, which
What do
is
you
sometimes
mean?
they think, I mean, like, in Motif, at Motif, we have about 5 different type of the segment of customers, which is
Okay.
one is a moms,
Yeah.
the typical moms.
Yep.
I'm not gonna explain it, but yeah,
Yeah.
moms.
Yeah. Just the
And
moms
the
of GC. Yeah.
yeah, moms and the teachers, which
Okay.
is like school teachers and teachers' family,
Yep.
and business owners
Okay.
and the hotel workers
Okay.
Mm.
and
Right.
local people.
And then local people. Yeah. So
No
that's
Yeah,
very
tourists.
5 different people.
yeah.
No
Tourists is I don't
tourists.
really count. I don't really count them. I just consider them as the etceteras, because
Add-ons, right?
we're not targeting them, and if they're visiting us, it's appreciated.
Yeah.
But like I don't really mainly target them, so that's
Yeah.
why we were not really having trouble during this low season of traveling in Jeju Island.
Yeah.
We were like strongly connected to the GC and the local
Good.
people. So
Good.
that's
That's
why
great.
our catchphrase is a living room.
Yeah.
And
I
then
really like that. I
yeah,
really like that. Yeah.
and so the struggle part was the attitude is like GC moms were like, how I'm being supportive for your business, so what are you gonna give me back? Like those attitudes sometimes exist.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Sometimes.
If it's too
Sure.
sensitive, you can cut it
Sometimes.
out, but it's not
yep.
sensitive.
No,
So
no,
not
no.
all moms
No.
does that way.
Mm.
And other thing was the local people, which is today I also had a similar problem. Local
Okay.
like not grandmas, like older moms age, those generation complain that it's expensive.
Uh,
The
Yeah.
price is expensive.
okay,
Yeah.
so this is actually a really interesting conversation that we talked about in the beginning of the podcast,
Yeah,
because price is becoming a really significant issue on Jeju. And
Right.
you are you started off by saying that you found Jeju to be expensive, and people
yeah,
on Jeju are finding it to be expensive. What
yeah.
is the solution? It's expensive for
Solution.
you, it's expensive for us, it's expensive.
Yeah.
What do you
Everybody.
see any solution?
Solution. I think this crazy inflation need to be go down first economically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in Jeju, we cannot get over this issue because everything's imported.
Right.
And
Exactly.
everything's imported. That is a big issue.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
It is a
Yeah.
big issue. I think, and we're just talking about food. To
Mhm.
just get food to sell. All the
Mhm.
restaurants have had to raise their prices because
Yeah.
just getting the basics, the basic side dishes to put on people's tables is now
Mhm.
so expensive. There has been no choice but to
Yeah.
across the board, raise the prices.
So
if
what
I
do
just
you
give you like simple example of this one to understand
Yeah.
the situation.
Yeah.
So last year, once I start the business, and currently water price, there is like 상수 하수, which is like clean water and dirty water.
Right.
Clean water raised the price 5%, and dirty water is like 20% raised. So I can see this. I spent same amount of water, but I can see the price is like 20% increase. And
That
it's like
adds
crazy.
up. That adds up
Yes.
so much when you're trying to run a business. Yeah.
And then you also
Yeah.
have gas. Gas is going up too, right?
Electricity
Because
went up
Electricity, yeah.
massively.
So we don't use the gas, fortunately. If I use the gas, I must be dead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you would die. It would be done. It would be done. Yeah.
So we have like a fully we use a full just electricity, but electricity also raised it like 7%. It's like 3% to 7%.
Electricity was my electric bill for this last winter. I almost cried. It was ridiculous.
You almost
Canadian.
cried.
We don't use heating.
We did cry. Sorry, I'm not laughing at your pain. Sorry, but I'm just right there with you. Yeah, holy vey.
Yeah.
As a business owner, how do you confront that? Like, how do you deal with customers coming in and be like, "Oh, this Americano is too expensive," or this blah blah blah? How do you confront that?
Oh, I just tell them because it's the right price. I just openly tell them how much is this rent, and the electricity is like went up too high. So I just say sorry, but I just
lay it out there.
Give an option that they can get discounted, which is once they bring their own personal cup, we offer 1,000 discount.
Oh, look at that! Okay.
Because the main price of the if you see the pricing model of the coffee, like its structure, there are water and espresso and syrup, blah blah, and cup, lid, sleeve, straw is the price.
Right, right.
But if they help me to reduce this one, they can get off, right?
Okay.
And I don't like how Starbucks give only 300 one, 400 one off. So I was like, okay, we are not targeting. We are actually being the neighborhood's cafe. Then if we have frequent customers, if they don't spend those papers or plastics, we actually even use the biodegradable plastics, which is so expensive. Sometimes it's like one cup set is like 601, which is 10% of Americano, which is too much. Then if we have like a frequent customer, they're just like drinking here, they're here for drinking coffee. If they bring their own cup, we don't have to spend that one, so we just pay back. So if they bring their own cup, we offer 1,000 discount, and we even offer the stamp card, which is if they drink 10, we offer 7,000 discount coupon. So we just give those options for frequent visitors.
Good.
I have to thank you for explaining
that way.
Yeah.
I have to thank you for explaining that because I don't think many people think about that when they go up to the till, like to buy something. They just see, oh, the price, and they're like, oh, well, this is so expensive, blah, 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 blah. So thank you. That's really great to know the economics behind it. Because I mean, you know this probably better than me, Alexis, like the margins on restaurants and stuff are like raised or
not
thin.
that high, not that high.
People aren't making, they look at something like Motif, it's so beautiful, I've seen pictures, it's so beautiful and elegant, and or people look at the bars up here in the city and they're like, wow, look how busy it is. They probably made bank tonight, No, you didn't make bank. You didn't. It could be packed, but you need it to be packed every night to make bank. And that doesn't happen in Jeju. It's, it's hard to get
one day, I think.
Really, really. You can have one crazy busy day every 2 weeks or something like that. And but talking about that busyness, I would like to ask a question. So now you've had quite a few fun events. What has been your favorite event you've thrown so far up to this 1 year anniversary?
So the first one, if I just say everyone was crazy, was hosting the drag shows.
Yes. Okay, the drag show. Okay.
The drag show means so much to us because in GC, if I need to just say something's missing in GC is an understanding of diversity and educating the diversity.
Yes.
Yeah. So once I get to the GC, I talk a lot with our neighbors, which is once the frequent visitors, my friend, almost friends, people come to the place and they just sit down in the bar seat and just talk to me about their life. I'm happy to hear that. And some of the like good close girl customer friends, they just sitting down and they just tell me about, what, this sounds so boring, but do you know any drag queens? And I asked back why. Because, I used to go to Seoul to see the drag show. And then sometimes the drag queen, which is maybe it was a Hurricane Kimchi. I think when she was in town, it was like blow her mind. And she wanted to
that was a fun show. Yeah, right.
That
So
was
they
once I
wanted you to bring it down to the
Yeah.
GC, like some more something
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
Because I was running my business for 10 years, and I have a tons of network because of those my personality, and they might
Yeah.
thought like I know some, and I just
Yes.
checked my
Yes.
friends list. I found that there
Yes.
are one or two drag queens. I was like,
Yeah. Well, hello.
maybe I can check it out. I can check it out. And I explained about the situations, and I just saw that like, okay, when I look into the GC, that those diversities are missing, and people just love to pay for those shows and their
Events.
cultural
Exactly.
events.
Exactly.
And I even asked to the girl, her name was Jenny, and I asked the Jenny like, how much are you willing to pay for this one? And she said like, I don't know, maybe if I just think about like transportations and things,
Yeah.
maybe at least a 30 to 50 is okay. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay. So I set the price from that idea, and I
Yeah.
contacted the drag queen, which is through my bar owner friends, and
Yeah.
he introduced me the drag queens who had performance before in their bar,
Right.
and I brought her down with some alcohol beverage companies sponsors,
Right.
and I
That was
made that
very
event
smart.
happen.
Yeah, that was very
Yeah,
smart.
How
Yeah.
many drag
yeah.
events have you had?
We only had it once.
One.
But like when I host that event, I was like, okay, but if I bring those event, the moms will complain
Ugh,
that bringing event. I was thinking, but no one complained at the
no
end.
one complained. Yeah.
And the moms said, like, I can tell that like the moms really wanted to come as well. Some of the
That's
moms. That was
Mm.
fun part.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
if I
You're
just
like, soon, if you do it, I think in my opinion, you do it. It's not something I think you can have regularly down here. It's a lot to
yeah.
fly queens
Yeah.
in. The airfare is expensive, blah blah blah. But if you were to do it on a fairly, seasonally, perhaps,
Mm-hmm.
I think you're just going to see more and more. You might, in fact, run into some
Yeah.
issues with the locals, but I
Yeah.
also think if you see more issues, I also think you're going to see more support as well. So,
Yeah.
Mm.
yeah,
It's
So
actually
if
probably
I
a
just
better location where you are for it because it's not in the city. It's
right,
not
Mhm,
close to lots of buildings or lots of people where,
mhm,
it'd be easy for them to come and bother you. And the
mm,
JGC, you kind of have to go out of your way to
to
mm.
get
go to it, right?
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah, I took my daughter to the drag brunch you had, and that was a lot of fun. I
Mhm.
look forward to you doing another event. I'll definitely
same.
come. Yeah,
It's
it's so much
upcoming on
fun.
June 10th, so June
You
10th
got
we're
it. You
going.
heard it here,
Mm.
folks. June
Yeah,
10th, next drag
June
show.
10th. We're
Is
going
that's
to
a
host
Saturday,
an.
right, Gio?
It's a Saturday night,
It's a Saturday.
but
Ooh,
this time we're
okay.
going to do a night show because
Okay.
Yeah.
the reason why I hosted the drag show as a drag brunch is I
Uh-huh.
wanted to see everything like opposite way.
Okay.
So that show could be a very explicit content, but
Mhm.
we are next to GC, and I wanted to share this kind of cultural events and the diversities that exist to the town. So I just
Mhm.
wanted to share those ideas. So I brought the drag shows as a drag brunch
So
hour, just
more of
like
a
something
family
event.
friendly, daytime
Yeah,
you were kind of thinking family friendly, a little bit more.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
And that's why we
Okay.
allow to bring the kids there.
Right.
And
Mhm.
I personally suggested to the two drag queens, which is Manura and Fiona, that we need to persuade and share about this
What it
scene,
is. Yep.
yeah, what it is, nicely.
Yes.
So I didn't want
Yeah.
to make a problem with the moms and all the GC people or the neighbors around. So that's why I wanted to do very like nice, clean contents,
Yeah.
Right.
and the
Because it's
perform went
more,
very well.
drag shows are very, very common now up in Seoul. They happen, sometimes even 2 nights a week in various
Hmm.
parts of the city in Seoul.
Yep.
Jeju is still so country. But not
Yep.
only is Jeju, the island, so country, the GEC it doesn't matter that there's 4
Mm.
international schools. The
Yeah.
Mm.
GEC is even more country
Yeah.
than, you know what I mean? So it's like
Hmm.
2 steps of country down there. So
Yeah.
yeah, that seems like a smart way to go about it. So having said that, the 10th will be at night, so this will be more of a adults only, you think?
Yeah, adults only event, I think.
Okay.
But next day, 11th of June, we are going to do daytime event again, but it will be the
Okay.
drag reading, which is
Oh, a
Drag reading,
book
story time,
reading.
nice.
Yeah, story
book
time.
reading. Yeah,
Okay.
so
So
I just
you're
wanted
really
to
trying. Okay.
trying out then
Love it.
because I could have a lot of support. I had a lot of support from the our friends of neighbors, which is they just say like they feel so sorry that they couldn't attend, but they just like made sure they want to come, and they also keep saying like they want to bring their kids and show what we have.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was a kind of a thing. And next one was the sip and drawing event, which
I miss two things I miss the most from the States is drag brunches and my sip and paint classes. Love that. Yeah. Yeah. So that was
it
your
was
second event that you really liked.
second event because the people just realize what they can do at night. So I was being like suggesting the not new lifestyle, but different type of lifestyle, and suggested and curate the lifestyle. So I wanted our place, it turns out, to the people's living room, and the living room is supposed to have a different type of program, and that's why I put really good, like meaningful things on that sip and painting event.
Yeah.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're giving more and more proof as to why Motif Jeju is our living room. Why'd you pick the name Motif?
So you guys will I can already see you guys surprising eyes, which is actually I wrote a book. I wrote a book about my story during the COVID. So
really,
yeah, I was just stuck in the hospital for 50 days when I had a COVID, and there were discriminations.
50?
Yeah,
50?
yeah,
Jesus, Jiho.
so yeah, I'm a like trend leader all the time. So I was on the trend, which I got COVID on 2020 April.
That's not a good trend. Wow.
That's not a good trend.
Yeah.
Oh my, you're a trendsetter indeed. So you wrote a book.
Yeah. So during that time, there were a lot of discriminations and hate was toward to the patient. And I was also I don't want to use that I was a victim, but I was also like the person who had that issues. And I found out when I was in hospital for 30 days, I got no energy to watch Netflix. My eyes got dried, and I was like sweating all the time in the hospital room alone.
Yeah.
And I got nothing to do. So I had a call with my friend, and she said, like, why don't you write down your story and current situation on the blog? And I was writing that on a blog. And suddenly, when I wrote like 8 episodes, book published companies contact me. They want to read out as a book.
Oh my God.
I was writing like essay. They contact me.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So you're a published
author?
Yeah, we got Darryl. We messed up the introduction. Owner of Motif and published author.
Yeah, and the Starbucks CEO, founder, I have multiple titles.
How does the book tie in? Is the name of the book Motif? Or
so the title is I got COVID in Korean. 코로나에 걸려버렸다. So and I didn't put my face online or any media because I know that will be another discrimination toward to me. So now I can do it, but like at the time I just tried my best because
way too early, right?
What's the name of the book again?
코로나에 걸려버렸다.
He's looking that up now. Keep going with the story.
So and I found out like my life turned out to some kind of literature, right? And I can see like everyone's life is just one of it can be the book, it can be some literature. So I was like, he searched my book.
People that are listening are gonna have no idea, but Darryl just Googled that and saw the book. Okay, we'll put a link up too. Actually, we'll put a link up when we. But keep going with the story.
And I found out every life is just like book. So I want to once I decide to open my shop, I want our place turn out as someone's like motif of their life, which motif means actually a repetitive subject and topic of that art, whatever, book
Okay.
or literature. So I want our shop
To be
to be someone's life motive place.
okay.
So that's why I want people just come and visit and they live their life in our place.
I
And
like it.
just like it turns out, I wish that turns out that way.
Okay.
I can't get
Goals.
over this.
Why?
I hadn't.
Darryl, what are you looking at?
It's like no, it's just like well, but like we're gonna have a conversation about your restaurant and like look and no,
And
you're living my dream, man. You're an author.
No, I mean, like, after I published the book, I didn't want to write the text anymore, but I'm still
Sure.
doing it. But
yeah. Okay.
What was the reception to your book?
What does it mean? Sorry.
No, what was the reception? Like, what did people
Think
of
about
it?
your book?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Some people were like being very like nice because the reason why I wrote a book was at the time, no one was speaking out what's happened in to the patients, and they don't know what's happening in the hospital.
So
They
scary.
don't know what kind of things happening. The only things that known on the media was like this person like targeted to in their community and like being discriminated, but no one doesn't know how's it happening. So I just wrote about what's happened and what kind of government programs exist and what kind of things they need to do when they go hospital, what kind of stuff they need to bring. So my book start with I got call from the KCDC,
right?
You got COVID. So the first sentence was and you got COVID, and I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And I was like, I started hacking stuff, and that's how story begins.
Yeah, and then takes you through the journey into the hospital.
Yeah, journey to the hospital. I even took the photo.
I just bought the book. I'm gonna bring it down when it gets here. I'm gonna come down to your place. You're gonna sign me a copy.
You're gonna sign his book. I love Darryl that you're not paying attention to the podcast. You're purchasing books whilst we're recording live here. Okay. Well, good. There you go. You just sold another book, Jiho.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah, you should maybe
can
have
search on English interview. You can also search English interview on.
Oh, okay. Darryl, let's make sure we put a couple of those links up on our site.
Sure.
So what? But Jiho, what is your what's your Instagram handle so that our audience knows?
My Instagram handle is don't laugh. My Instagram handle.
Okay. And what is Motifs?
Motif is a motif.jeju.
Okay.
Can you comment on my personal Instagram? Like, keep my.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's not share that. We'll see if we can. We'll figure something out afterwards. Yeah, but okay,
I can
we'll
beep
it out. Yeah. We don't need to. We don't need to share that around. Yeah. Yeah. So
people can go there to look for upcoming events. Correct.
Yeah, of course.
Look for the June 10th.
We'll keep posting. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. This has been amazing. It's been great it's a great reminder to do a better pre-interview before you actually interview somebody so you get a better idea of who they are.
You're not shocked that they're a published author by the middle of the segment. But I am so glad to see your face, and you will see my face down in your cafe soon enough.
Yeah, please. I would love to host you. Like,
we can share some wine.
With a big cup, yes.
Yes, perfect.
We could do a podcast on scene sometime. Then we could record it at Motif
with booze.
I would love to share
a drinking podcast.
Perfect. Great.
Well, thank you so much, Jiho.
Thank you so much for hosting me.
Well, so yet another very interesting interview. I think we just get really lucky with the people we end up asking, because who would have known? Like, first of all, how he came into money to be able to open a cafe, right? That was just so random. Startup, a tech startup. Second of all, dropping bombs that he's a published author just randomly. I mean, it was a quick interview, but filled with just lots of like, the fact that this is a serious life event, but the book was about 50 days in a hospital dealing with COVID at the beginning of COVID.
That was shocking to hear that he was in the hospital for 50 days.
Because he's a young gentleman. Yeah. And so just that's incredible. It's 50 days.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I guess, yeah.
In these show
That was
notes,
super interesting. Oh, yeah. In the show notes. Yes.
There'll be links to his podcast.
Yeah. English, not podcast, English interview that he did about that time of his life.
And then
also
of course his Instagram.
For Motif.
And all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and we want to encourage, because I mean, the man is just trying to do so much to bring culture, to bring community, to bring people together down in an area where it's very easy. You know, those teachers work so hard down there. You know, it's a stressful job, and it's so easy to just get locked into your own little space. And I applaud him for doing everything he can to make his business, number one, thrive, whilst making it thrive, bringing people together, you know?
And, you know, me coming from like the journalism background, I appreciate people who serve community as like, that's what they do, right?
That's what they do. That's the intent.
He does that. He's not just there to be a coffee shop.
No, he jumped in into this new dream that he has. Yeah. Cool interview. I'm glad we did that.
Great.
Yeah.
And if you guys have any comments, thoughts, concerns,
as always,
let us know. Email us, you know, or send us at our Instagram, me, you, and Jeju, and on Facebook. We will be posting more stuff there in a short little while. So
stepping up our Instagram game, and if there's any facts you want us to know, if there's anything you want us to cover, or if you know of any really cool people that you're like, this person should be interviewed, let us know. We're always open for suggestions.
Yeah, we're always on the hunt.
For real though, for real. Well, that was great, Darryl, as always.
Until next time, ciao.